Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here, as you can see up on the screen right now. Today we're going to be talking about Huni. This guy was the center of a lot of speculation and rumors this past offseason, and he really has been for the past couple of offseasons. I mean, there's been a ton of talk of just which different teams he was going to be potentially playing in the top lane for. There was talk of maybe him role swapping to mid lane, to AD carry, and there's just always a bunch of crazy rumors surrounding this guy, and people have very, very polarizing opinions about him. Some people would love to have him on their favorite team as a top laner, as like a buy low guy that has super high potential and maybe can bounce back, but there's for sure a lot of people out there that want him to absolutely stay as far away as from possible, from their favorite team. And I completely understand both sides of it. But again, this guy is just a ton of fun to talk about. And my channel really did blow up this offseason, starting to talk about a ton of like rumor and speculation stuff. So I want to look back on a rumor that now that we know has been brought to the forefront that we maybe missed. So in this video today, we're going to be talking about, what could have been for Huni, one of his possible options from a couple of years ago, and just how it would have changed the landscape of the LCS. But before we get into that, I just want to mention real quick, if you're not already subscribed, definitely click that subscribe button really quick. It's fast, it's free, it's easy, helps you guys stay up to date on all my latest content, and I would appreciate it a ton. I think we either just hit 6,200 subscribers, or maybe we're like just underneath it. Either way, we're really, really close. And if we did hit it already, awesome. 6,300 to next. Let's keep going, keep shooting for the stars. But yeah, you guys are just going absolutely crazy with likes on all the videos, with subscriptions and everything, and it's been super, super awesome. Just a ton of fun, and it just makes it really easy to keep pumping out content and keep doing what I love, and hopefully what you guys enjoy to watch as well. With that being said, here we go, getting right into today's video. So again, Huni, a ton of rumors, speculation, everything. Obviously, there was rumors of him maybe going to Evil Geniuses as mid, maybe Evil Geniuses AD carry this past offseason, maybe staying as their top laner, maybe going to TSM as their top laner, and really just bouncing all over the place as a guy who has had an insane career, bouncing around from being a breakout star on Fnatic, and really kind of coming out of nowhere in the eyes of a lot of people, bouncing around to like Immortals. He's been on Echo Fox, he's been on so many different teams. He went to SKT and made it all the way to the World Finals. On the international stage, we've seen him be one of the best top laners in the world, but in regional leagues like the LCS, we've seen him be honestly one of the worst top laners in the LCS as well, and he's been everywhere in between. So this guy is super, super polarizing, but he has a huge champion pool, he has a huge personality, he plays a million different picks, and he's always down to do some crazy stuff. So those rumors of him maybe potentially role swapping have never been too unbelievable, because if anyone is down to do it, it seems like he would be a guy that's like, sure, I'll play AD carry, I play Lucian top and Vayne top and all these guys, and mid lane, same stuff. I'm sure he has a crazy champion pool there, and it would be really exciting and really interesting to see that. So I have been kind of curious following this stuff, but from like this offseason, it was always really hard to tell what was real, what was rumors, what was complete speculation, what was just a fake Twitter account like trying to get some clout and stuff, because there was just so many things to watch out for this offseason stuff. And this was really the first offseason. I've always followed League of Legends, but this was the real first offseason that I tried covering and tried like staying super, super up to date on and in the know with all the rumors and stuff. So I've missed some stuff for sure from the past few years. So this is a really interesting story to hear about. This was from TSM Legends last week. This came out right before this past week of the LCS lock-in tournament, and about 10 minutes in. Also, if you guys haven't ever checked out TSM Legend 4, you should definitely go check it out. It's super fun, it's honestly a really, really good series that TSM puts out. But about 10 minutes into this video, Huni has this little exchange with Spica. It sounds like before their game with 100 Thieves, but this is where they talk about it. It's pretty hilarious, but it's also some insight into what was going on behind the scenes as well.
You know what's the funny thing? If I didn't put EG, I had a chance to be millionaire at the 100 Thieves.
Really? Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So obviously he is talking about not this past offseason, but the year before, when he went to Evil Geniuses. He's talking about he had the chance to be the mid laner for 100 Thieves. Now, to me, this was not something that I knew about. Obviously, this is when 100 Thieves ended up going with Ryoma. They thought he was this up and coming promising talent, and at times he showed that, but honestly, he just showed to most people that he wasn't really ready for the LCS. And obviously now they have him back in the academy scene. Hopefully that'll work out for him. Hopefully he still has a bright future ahead of him. But again, he was just not ready for the LCS, and that was an opportunity for Huni to play for 100 Thieves, to play mid lane, to be their starting mid laner, and that would have been a really, really crazy opportunity. Now, before we get into talking about the rest of this, I want to finish out this clip real quick.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Wait, when?
If I didn't join EG after last year.
No, like when they ask.
And to me, that was just so funny. I mean, Spica's personality is just absolutely hilarious. He's just the biggest troll in the world. That's exactly what he's like on Twitter and all the videos and all the comments and everything. I thought that was hilarious. His laugh is so funny. Huni was not expecting that at all. Such a good one. It had me dying. But again, there was just a lot of really great stuff to talk about from this as well. Because then you really see how every single small decision can really change the landscape of the LCS. Because again, if Huni would have been playing for Ryoma, who knows how that would have worked out. Maybe Huni would have been a great mid laner, and he'd be one of the best mid laners in the LCS right now. You know, mid lane is a very weak position in the LCS. He is definitely mechanically gifted enough to be successful. He's an insane laner when he's good. Obviously, people have their speculations about how good he is anymore, but if he was able to be good, I'm sure he would have an insane champion pool, and it would be really interesting. You know, it would be tough. You know, most role swaps we see do not go well, and it can be really difficult, and he could have just ended up being terrible, and maybe Huni would have tried to role swap and he just would have been out of the LCS entirely. Maybe he would have just completely fumbled and been terrible, and people would just kind of have written him off as well. It could have went so many different ways. But then obviously for the two teams, 100 Thieves, you see where they've ended up. Yes, maybe they didn't have that great of a year last year with Ryoma in the mid lane, but now the team that they've been able to put together, even though Demonte isn't necessarily the strongest mid laner in the LCS, you know, he's pretty middle of the pack. He's a solid mid laner. He also fits the team's playstyle really well. You see they're able to pick up the whole Golden Guardians team, and this team is now so far into the lock-in tournament. They're looking like one of the best teams in the LCS. Some people have them rated as like the second best team, maybe the third best team. Top four at the very lowest. And things really worked out all right for them, and just thinking how different things could have been with Huni in the mid lane. I mean, would they be better off now? Would they be way worse off now? Would things still have worked out the same? It's just kind of funny and interesting to think about. But then obviously from the TSM perspective, when TSM signed Huni, a lot of people were upset. A lot of people are still upset right now, calling for Haunter to be coming in, calling for Broken Blade to return, calling for just looking for a new top laner in general. He's just getting a ton of criticism, where at one point, you know, Huni was the super lovable guy that everyone was always hyped up for, everyone was excited for. The community and fan sentiment has really changed on him. But say he was a mid laner now, TSM would be in a whole different situation. I don't even know what team Huni would have ended up on at this point, or what TSM's options would have been for the top lane. Would TSM potentially have gone harder after a guy like Impact or Licorice being the best top laners available? Would they have settled for somebody like Haunter, who it seems like a lot of fans are kind of wanting right now, and maybe remembering him as this very talented top laner for TSM? But recall last year, Haunter was not that good. Like, everyone that's saying Huni's not that good and they want him replaced and stuff, Haunter was probably worse last season in the LCS. Maybe you could say Haunter was a little bit better, but I mean, at best, they were comparable to each other last season. So, honestly, I don't know why we would expect Haunter to be too big of an upgrade over Huni. I mean, he'd be different. He'd have a different champion pool, a different playstyle. Maybe it'd fit in better with the TSM team. But it would have really just made, obviously, last offseason super crazy, but especially this offseason even crazier as well, to see where would 100 Thieves be, where would TSM be, where would Huni be, and yeah, it's just super interesting. And still, I mean, this is going to be something that maybe comes up in the future, especially if Huni doesn't have a good split this year in the top lane. Will he consider role swapping? Will a team even want him to role swap? Will he even have more opportunities as a top laner going forward? Obviously, I hope he's able to turn things around for TSM, but right now, I mean, when we take a look at the stats, this is on the goal.gg. His stats are pretty rough so far. I mean, in terms of CS per minute, he's second to last, only above Tapoon. Gold per minute, he's towards the bottom. Kill participation, he's actually number 1, which is good. You know, he has been getting involved. He's in fights and stuff. But I mean, in terms of a lot of the other stats, he is not good. One of the things he's usually good for is an insane damage per minute stat, and right now he's even middle of the pack in that regard. But what's really worrying me right now is these laning stats for Huni, where CSD at 15, he is towards the bottom. XP differential at 15. Third to last, and gold differential of 15, I don't think we looked at either. He is second to last right now. So I mean, it's just a lot of concerning stats and a lot of stuff that's not looking great. Now, TSM as a whole hasn't looked great, and they were still able to come away with like a 43% win percentage. You know, I think they ended up one game below 500, which I guess is a promising sign. But obviously, Huni's a veteran guy that yes, he will take time to mesh with a new team, a new roster, a new organization, facility, just a new season in general. It's still preseason, but I mean, a lot of the criticisms and worries that fans had coming into the season so far about Huni have been correct. So that is a little bit worrying. It's a little bit concerning. Hopefully they'll be able to turn things around. I do still expect TSM to be a very solid team, but all of a sudden, Evil Geniuses looks pretty solid. 100 Thieves looks pretty solid. There are some good teams out there. We expect Cloud9 to kind of ramp it up as the season goes on as well. And when your top 3 teams make it to Worlds and TSM, spend all this money on Sword Art, spend all this money on Power of Evil, went and got Huni, and especially when Impact is looking so good. Now, yes, Licorice is not looking so good, and Licorice was for sure considered for TSM, so it's easy to say, oh, they could have just went and got Impact, but they could have very easily went and spent a bunch of money on Licorice as well, and honestly, you could argue that Licorice has maybe looked worse than Huni to start the season so far, but they've both kind of been on similar levels. So, I mean, it's weird. It's crazy. You never know what you're getting. TSM and Bjergsen obviously bet big on Huni that he'd be able to kind of pay off as like a cheap option buying low on a guy with a ton of talent and a guy who can hopefully regain some old form that he's once showed, because he's not that old. I think he's like 22, 23 years old or something. So he has a chance to hopefully regain his old form. He shouldn't be like, he's not like washed up boomer mechanics or anything. He should be able to come back. But we'll see how it goes. So far, it has definitely been a slow start. But, hearing this, obviously them talking in this video and stuff just got me thinking. One, had me reminiscing back to the offseason when things were absolutely popping off crazy. We're having these crazy rumors and stuff all the time. And, this was just another crazy rumor, so I wanted to get this out to you guys because, again, I know a lot of people have first subscribed to me for some of these kind of more off-the-wall stories, these wild rumors and speculation. And just, I think it's always fun to, like, theory craft and think about what could have been, what would have changed, how would the landscape of the LCS be entirely different? Because right now, 100 Thieves, they're probably pretty happy things didn't work out like that. They're looking pretty good. Maybe TSM is wishing Huni would have roll swapped to mid lane. I'm not exactly sure how things would have been different, how things would have worked out, but it would have changed the stuff for a lot of different players, a lot of different teams, a lot of different organizations, and would have changed a ton of lives. Roll swaps are crazy. They don't usually work out, but obviously, we've seen some crazy ones with like the G2 guys and everything, and they're fun because they're just super entertaining to watch. Are they going to do amazing? Are they going to do poorly? Look at 100 Thieves and Huhi. Nobody really expected Huhi to ever be that good of a sport, but he's looking good so far. But that is pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below. What do you think about this whole situation? Do you think Huni at 100 Thieves would have done a good job as their mid laner? Do you think he should swap to mid lane? How do you think this would have changed the landscape of the LCS? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on anything we talked about in today's video. Subscribe to stay up to date on the latest content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.